Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm a career coach with Inner Compass Coach, and I work with mid-career professionals to help them identify their career direction. I'm here today with one of my former clients, Lee Anderson Harris, and she was recently ordained in the United Methodist Church and has been working as a minister for over 12 years. And in our working together, she is working to create a business or a program that is going to help individuals really make Methodists or religion truly theirs. And I am not doing the best job really giving more the best words to describe what Lee is doing. So I'm going to let her share a little bit more about herself, her background, and today we're going to just talk about what has been helpful in identifying her direction. So Lee, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Okay. All right. Hi, my name is Lee. And as Danielle mentioned, yes, I've been working in the same ministry area, the same church for 12 years now. And it felt like there was time for maybe not necessarily a complete change. I certainly don't want to leave the ministry, but was seeking how I could enhance it, seeking where I was being called to next and what my next ministry setting would look like and what it was that I felt designed to do, and taking all the accumulation of experience, the knowledge that I've gained, what has worked, what hasn't worked, all of those things, and putting it together into a ministry program that is uniquely mine. And also answering the question, how can I best serve people, and how can I use what I have experienced to help others on their Christian journey.
Yeah. And Lee, your path has been incredibly moving to me for so many reasons, because you are really trying to do something new. And really, the path that you've been on, you're essentially working to give it to other people as well. So I'm curious for you, what's been helpful in helping you determine this direction? What led you to this point?
Um, a lot of feeling things that don't fit well for me,
Mm-hmm.
and paying attention to things that do fit well for me. And so how I did that was pay attention to the energy expended. I've done a lot of reading and development in terms of strengths, personal strengths and leadership strengths. And so I developed kind of this language around where is my energy going, and do I feel like I am receiving energy back from that? Or do I feel like I am being completely drained and, on the verge of burnout, really? And so I've been paying attention to those areas. And I was able to identify that there are some things that I do because my job requires it, where I don't feel like I'm very effective. And it leads me more to feeling completely exhausted, depleted, not excited about my work. And at the same time, there are areas that my job required that were the complete opposite, where I came alive and I felt, oh, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm making a difference here. And so paying attention to that it brought me to that point where I thought, okay, it's not all, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but there are probably some things that I could be doing more of. And for the other things, either find a different approach or say, maybe this isn't the right program for me altogether, and I need to do something new.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because we can do this from a very logical perspective. What do I like? What do I dislike? And make a chart. But it's very different when you really feel within and ask yourself, what's really energizing me versus depleting me. And I think you did an amazing job taking it out of the intellect and bringing it to the heart. So can you talk to me a little bit more about that? Because I think it's really important.
Yeah. I think that even if I can't always explain the the feelings that I have, there are some times that I just have to listen to it anyway. And as me, as an analytical person, I always want to find answers. I want to analyze it and I want to put it into logical terms. And there are times that we just have to recognize that our feelings are there for a reason. And it's not just emotions that I'm talking about, but more of, you when you are in tune with your body, you can feel, it's a physical feeling of where your energy is going. And if, for instance, if I'm reaching my days off completely exhausted and I'm doing what I know to do to take care of myself and I still don't feel ready to go back to work, then that's what I'm talking about. Like my energy, my physical energy is gone. And so even if I can't quite articulate why something is draining my energy, I decided to come at it from a place of acceptance, that it's there for a reason, and maybe I'll be able to articulate it and understand it down the road. But for now, I just need to listen to it and accept that maybe I'm not good at everything I want to be good at, and that's okay. That there are other things that I am good at, and that's where I want to invest myself.
Yeah. So what are some of the things you learned that you were good at that you see bringing forward with you in this next chapter?
I am really good at being with people in the depths, and as a pastor, that is a large part of my job, is to journey with people, and to, when they're in the middle of something really painful or that they're struggling with, that they need a safe space. And so I'm good at that. I'm good at just being with them in that. I'm good at being able to speak about what it means, in uniquely Christian terms, what it means to be a disciple of Jesus. What all of the struggles that comes with. I'm able to speak to that in written word, in preaching, things like that. I am also good at putting together classes or groups that help people along the way, that help them feel normal, because we're all a lot more normal than we think we are, that their struggles are real, and they have a place where they can do that in community and be connected with others who are dealing with the same kinds of things and the same kinds of questions and issues. So those are a few things that I feel really equipped to do.
Mm-hmm. And then you are pretty much making a program doing all the things that you love to do and feel equipped to do.
Yeah.
And that, in essence, like as I've tell many clients, you want to rinse and repeat what works and let go of what doesn't. And in many ways, you're harnessing all the things you love and are good at and creating something beautiful out of it. So I just think it's absolutely amazing. And so when you were working with me, what did you find to be the most helpful to get you to that point?
The first thing that comes to mind is just how accepting you were. I talk a lot about acceptance as being, it's a powerful healing tool. Mm-hmm. And so you created that acceptance of here's who you are, and that's great. And not here's what you should be. So that acceptance was key, but then also being able to encourage me in those areas, to be able to, you affirmed that what I was doing was important, and that there was a place for that. There was a place in this world for what I have to offer, and gave me that encouragement that this is something that I can take seriously and really put some meat to, instead of just kind of dreaming and having feel kind of nebulous out in the ether. And you were also able to do just that we're going to move this from a vision or a what if. First you helped me dream the what if, and then we're going to move that into some more specific items that I can actually tackle. And that was a huge help, because a lot of times I get stuck in the vision and I have no idea how to begin making it happen. So that's something that I'll continue to need help with, but you gave me some really solid next steps, and you worked with me to develop them. You didn't just say, here's what you should do. You helped me think through logically what are some actual next steps that I can do.
Thank you. That's really meaningful to me and really good feedback for me. So thank you. So for those who are struggling to identify their direction, what advice would you give them?
Oh gosh, I would say, and I am definitely speaking to myself here too. I include myself in this. First of all, believe in yourself. I mean, I think that's what it really. That's kind of step number one. Believe that whatever gifts you've been given are there for a reason, and that you do have something of value to offer the world. Once you start believing that, then you can, it frees up that space to work within, to come up with a more defined vision. But also know that even if you don't come up with a completely defined vision and the way that you can say, okay, here's my business plan and this is what I'm going to do, that some of that will unfold with time as well. Mm-hmm. I speak a lot in the language of seasons, and there really is a season for everything. So if you can come up with some of it, but not all of it, just keep being open to where the next inspiration will come from. Also know that timing doesn't always work out the way we want it to. I really want to have my change come all at once and, have my ducks in a row, and then here we go. We're moving into it. But in the real world, it doesn't always work out that way. And oftentimes it doesn't. So kind of trust that rhythm, that natural rhythm, trust the seasons, and live into it at each step the best you can, knowing that more inspiration will come when it's ready to come. And that you're always working towards something, trusting that you're always working towards something, even if it doesn't really feel like you're doing it, with a lot of momentum. You're still making a forward movement as you go along, and to celebrate those little accomplishments all along the way, because it's easy to not recognize them at all.
Yeah, that's incredible advice. And I think you're uniquely living it too, because right now you are starting something, but you are pursuing training, and also you're holding a 30-hour-a-week job, from my understanding. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're working towards something, but you're currently maintaining something too. And actually, when I work with a lot of people who want to start a business, I generally suggest it because it provides the stability, but and a bit of both financially and emotionally, but also still allows some time to work on whatever you're wanting to work on. So, of course, you would love to have your business happen right away, but you're in this season of being in between. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to have you share a little bit more about that experience, because I think it's helpful for people to hear about it.
Yeah. Well, to be completely honest, yeah, it's frustrating. There is a book that I really like that inspires me in this time, by William Bridges, called The Way of Transition. And he talks a lot about that in-between space. And I'm definitely in the in-between. And what's so hard about that is you don't have a clear end to something. Sometimes you do, but a lot of times right. For me right now, I don't have an ending to one thing.
Mhm.
Um, and then I also don't have like a clear beginning to another thing, so I'm really in this liminal space that is ripe. I know it is ripe, it's fertile. This is the fertile ground from which things will grow, but right now that knowledge hasn't, there are times when I haven't fully embraced that. I don't fully accept that head knowledge. And so it can feel very, not only frustrating, but some, disorienting sometimes.
Mhm.
It's easy for me to get sucked into the critical voices that say, this isn't going to happen. You're spinning your wheels. It's not going to happen. And so all of that is very real. And, the good things that come out of that, however, are that I don't have the pressure of coming up with something and executing it, as fast as I can.
Mhm.
That I can let inspiration come to me bit by bit. I can keep working with things and having conversations with people and saying, well, maybe this wouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't focus so much on this aspect, and here's something new that I can do instead, because I don't have a deadline. And in terms of income, I still have the income from my current job, as well. But the other challenges that it does present too is that there's a great need for structure and for planning, because in my current job, I have unfinished business. And not only do I want to just be present to the people that I currently serve the best I can, but I have goals to meet in this current position. So that takes focus and energy. And if I'm also trying to develop something on the side and in my free time, that takes energy. And I have to do that all while continuing to take care of myself, because that is hugely important, to take care of myself, so I can be, the best in all of my roles, and not crash and burn as a result. So that just takes planning, structure, putting things on the calendar. Like today, I'm not going to think about anything except what brings me joy, and so on and so forth, so that I can do it in a healthy way.
Mhm.
That's to me of utmost importance. Not just getting it done, but getting it done in a way that honors myself as well.
I love it. And I think that's really good advice and really honest. I remember when I started my business, I was also doing part-time social media event planning for other small businesses while building up my coaching practice. And one of the things that was interesting is I always thought I would reach an arrival point.
Hmm.
I ended up having small ones. Like I remember when I was able to let go of one of my clients because I was getting more coaching clients, and that was a point. And now I'm over 5 years into this business and have a stride going, but we never actually reach arrival points. I
Yeah.
did more of a, and that's more of the mind more so than I think the reality. So I definitely have how to create benchmarks for myself to keep some structure. And also, like you said, celebrate small successes. But I actually think that's really a farce, even for clients who are on like the path you and I are on, and I've been on and you are on. Even when you get a new job, yes, that is an arrival point, but then you start training and then you start doing whatever the roles and responsibilities are of that job. So I think that kind of idea of arrival is a farce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're exactly right. And that is the one thing that I tend to forget over and over again. And it does add to my stress,
Mhm.
or a sense of failure. If I am looking at, oh, I'm finally here, I finally did it. And it hasn't worked out that way so far. So why would it start working that way now? But I think that's very helpful for me, in that if I can even in advance, write down some, okay, here's a success, even if it seems small.
Mm.
Here's a success, and once I reach that, I'm going to celebrate that. And
Yeah.
that'll remind me that I am, as I said before, I'm always moving forward, even if it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, well, I remember when I was doing this business to get development group, one of the things they shared was that we should always celebrate our successes, like our business maturity date. And what they mean by that is when your business hits certain benchmarks, or even when I work with clients who are working corporate jobs, to celebrate things such as promotions, or even just, I did a good job helping this client, I'm going to take myself out for dinner.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to celebrate, and that whole sense of arrival doesn't always kind of work out in the way we would watch on a movie, but I think it's super important. So I'm kind of curious for you, how have you been doing to celebrate your successes as of recent? What do you plan to do? Because that's how I love to end this interview.
Yeah.
Part of doing this for me was being able to reconnect with clients and celebrating in their successes, because I have lacked in doing that, to be quite candid, and this fills my soul to be able to have these meetings. So what have you been doing so that
I laugh because, like, oh yeah, I guess I really haven't. But if I can look back, I can go back and say, okay, here is something that I can celebrate. So this doesn't answer your question that what have I been doing, because the answer is, yeah, this is something that I just forget again and again to do. But it has occurred to me, even prior to our talk today, that there are some things that I need to go back and reevaluate as successes along the way. So this has inspired me to follow through with that thought, that okay, so that's a thought, now let's follow through with that I can make a list. I can honestly look back and say, here are some challenges that I've overcome. For one thing, I'm celebrating the fact that I do have a little more clarity. I am able to define my vision a little more than before I started working with you. I mean, that in itself is actually huge, knowing my my track record and how I operate. So just being able to define that, and last week I was able to share that vision with somebody completely new, somebody besides you and my husband, and like my closest inner circle. And that's something to celebrate too, that I felt enough courage in that moment, because I think sharing our visions is vulnerable. It's a vulnerable thing. So there are those kinds of things that I can celebrate, that I'm feeling really good about in this moment. And so I think I will make a list of what I have done in my current job, as I'm setting my goals for 2019. What have I already done? And then likewise, as I'm trying to develop this new thing, what have I already done?
Love that. And I'm going to take this a step further and just encourage you to do something that actually lets you celebrate. And what I mean by that is energetically.
Okay.
For me, it's always calling my mom. There's something happy, energetic, uplifting of when I have a conversation and share with her. Because energetically, she really meets me where I'm at when I celebrate with her. So I don't know. I encourage you, if it's going out for dinner, great. But do something that actually lifts your spirit too, to celebrate, because whatever that may be, because it really does make a difference.
Yeah.
Cool. Lee, is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think I said it all. Like I said, the key if I could share this with anybody else, is to start valuing yourself and how you were created. And if I can't say anything else to anybody, that's my main message.
That's a beautiful message. Thank you so much for your time to Lee. And once again, I'm Danielle Mendich with Inner Compass Coach. You can find me at innercompasscoach.com, INNERCOMPASSCOACH.com. And Lee, is there any way that people can connect with you?
Sure. If you want to email me and have conversation, I would love that actually. So the best way to reach me is by emailing me at leeraYand@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful day.